Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're having an absolutely incredible day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it in what I would consider to be lightly cringy news. Coinbase CEO, his name is Brian Armstrong, has called on U.S. citizens to email their local representatives to vote in favor of the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act FIT21 bill. Very long name. Over the course of the last 3 or so years, Coinbase has been in random regulatory spats, problems, issues, things that the US SEC has alleged or claimed that they have done. No one knows if these things are true unless you work for Coinbase and or are Brian Armstrong yourself. On top of that, I've mentioned a number of times as I do daily news, and I remember nearly all the articles, that the CEO of Coinbase has recently, the last 2.5, 3 years, been asking for the help of the public in various different things, that we should go outside and hold up signs and say that we want crypto this and this should be happening in the market. And I mention that when I say lightly cringy, it's because I mentioned before in the long ago that a lot of larger players within the cryptocurrency space, at least from my vantage point, having been in the market since 1922, I've seen that a lot of these people did not care for us a number of years ago, but now I see them clamoring constantly that we need to come and save them in some sort of way. This is not the first time that the CEO of Coinbase has announced that we, the public, should come together and make sure that this gets passed, or ask your local this, or in this kind of way. And it's because years ago, I'm sure the same mentality relatively exists, as it tends to amongst very wealthy individuals. They believe that because they have tons of money, that they can bypass rules and laws and regulations. But when they realize they can't, then they tend to usually ask for public support. The same exact thing goes for politicians. Keep your eyes open, because that's what they usually do. So now that another situation has apparently arisen, we need to collectively come together, so saith Brian Armstrong, to help out the crypto industry, because, the bill aims to provide regulatory clarity for the cryptocurrency industry in terms of the differences in jurisdictions between securities and commodity regulators. Do you think that this is meant to benefit us? Or do you think that this will actually literally only benefit the large cryptocurrency companies? And to be fair to them, they have been asking for proper cryptocurrency regulation for a very long time. But Mr. Gary Gensler has refused to actually do so. The last couple of videos, there is now a really weird, smelly tug of war that I don't know why I said smelly. It just sounded like it. Anyway, it feels correct for the situation where the US SEC is trying to get as much control over the cryptocurrency space as humanly possible. And the Commodities Futures Trading Commission is now beginning to be more backed by congressional leaders and also senatorial people, in that they want the CFTC to take over where the SEC is currently taking over. And because Gary Gensler has actually admitted multiple times that he's not going to stop everything that he's doing. And basically he plans on continuing to, what's the term? Regulation by enforcement. I assume this is where Coinbase and Kraken and Gemini and Binance and every other crypto exchange is getting a bit annoyed because you just want regular regulation. You don't want someone screaming down your neck every single day that you're doing something wrong when they haven't told you what you're doing wrong. Armstrong stated that the bill will protect Americans' digital assets, innovation, and national security. Okay, that's okay. It says national security. Bring it in there, buddy. While promoting job opportunities for crypto firms. With regulatory uncertainty in the US, that's the United States, some crypto firms have begun testing other regions of the world for regulatory ease of use. Yeah, just go somewhere else. Remember, it was last year. It was definitely last year. Coinbase basically put out a statement and they were like, if you don't give us regulations, we're going to leave. And I was like, no, you're not. I was like, we all know that you're not. Gemini did the exact same thing. It's some really weird. I think you have to be worth several hundreds of millions of dollars to even have the audacity to sit there and think that you saying that your company is going to leave is going to make regulators be like, oh my gosh, did you hear what Brian Armstrong said? We have to regulate, right? Like, if Coinbase left the United States and moved, I almost said moved to Alaska, and had moved to the UK, Singapore, and South Africa, you know who would come stomping through the door the very next day? It would be the CEOs of Fidelity and BlackRock. They would skip through the door, and I feel lightly bad for them because they have been asking for regulations, but you also got to realize, like, you're dealing with monsters. That is to say, the SEC. That's not an opinion. It's simply I'm taking from what I've seen the SEC do and every other company. Like, it gets to a point where, you know how, like, sometimes, I'll put it to you this way. You ever been in school and everyone, like, doesn't like a certain person, and then you're like, you go hang out with them and they're actually not that bad? But imagine, like, everyone not liking you, and then you go sit with them and you're like, oh, you're a terrible person. Like, that's the SEC. Like, no one actually likes them because they're not trying to, like, it's not even the term's not even be nice. It's just they're not trying to do their actual job. So I totally get it. But, you know, there are other places on the planet that you can go to. Planes exist. I wonder, in an alternate universe or maybe some other timeline, like, how well Coinbase would have done if they had simply moved to, like, 10 other countries. Probably would have trading volume as large as Binance. That's the Brian Armstrong is calling on U.S. citizens to email their local representatives to vote in favor of Technology for the 21st Century Act. What does that even? I want to read that bill. What could be inside of that? How could anyone argue or disagree with, like, progression? Let's make things better. Let's make sure that there's technology for everyone in the future. You know someone's going to say no to that. Anyway, that's he keeps asking us, like, every 2 weeks to do something. I don't know if anyone's doing it. Is anyone actually emailing their local representative? I just heard someone say no. I can't hear you, but I still heard the letters no. All right. Let's move on. I'm going to call this video sad video. I don't think it would work. I don't think if I made the title of this video sad video that anyone would click on it, but, you know, we'll see. This is another sad story in that it's gotten a little cringy with where we are as a market and also as a cryptocurrency anything. You'll see what I mean. Digital asset manager Grayscale's lawyers have urged the United States Securities and Exchange Commission to give the green light to all spot Bitcoin ETFs at the exact same time. Years ago, Grayscale was as close as we got to a Bitcoin ETF. A lot of people years ago, mistakenly, like that it was rough, assumed that Bitcoin futures would lead us into, you know, the next evolutionary digital century, whatever that sentence is supposed to mean. Nope, it didn't work. We only got Bitcoin futures in the United States as a way to actually push the market down. The hope then became, cool, we need an actual product where institutions are buying up actual physical Bitcoin, that is to say digitally, and they own it, and therefore the more that they buy, the less that there actually is on the market. Grayscale started a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and it was in every single which way but the letters ETF and ETF. It was literally there. Grayscale applied to have their de facto fund, which was basically an ETF, turned into the letters ETF, and the SEC put up one of their fingers and said a gigantic, nope, get out of the room. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Then a bunch of other companies came forward, began to try and launch their own physical Bitcoin ETFs. They also got shut down. But for some reason, I saw a little tinfoil hatty thing on this as to why Grayscale had a discount on their thing. So basically, Grayscale's fund that they still have had a huge discount on it. Basically, you were able to buy up tons of Bitcoin in trust fund value. That was way less than the value of actual Bitcoin. I think it was like 1/3 the value, maybe half the value at some point. And Grayscale began to get very angry. It was at, when was it? Maybe the middle of last year or the end of last year. Grayscale then told the US SEC, hey, if you don't give us our Bitcoin ETF because we have all the paperwork, everything is in order, we're going to take you to court. And the SEC shook in their boots and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid. I can't believe this is going to happen. They allowed a Bitcoin ETF went through. The sun rose the next morning and everything was great. All the last part was a lie. The SEC didn't care. Grayscale took them to court, and I assume they're all still sitting in the same courtroom. I'm not really sure how that's supposed to work. So now that we have all the big dogs, if you will, also we're like very close to ARK Invest's Bitcoin ETF approval day. I believe it's sometime in August. For those of you who missed that, we have a multitude of Bitcoin ETFs that are trying to get approved at the exact same time. Before the mega avalanche of the Fidelity, if Fidelity and and BlackRock don't get their ETFs, the world doesn't make sense anymore. Right before them is ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, the woman who's buying up all the Coinbase stock. I think she said that their decision day is sometime in August. Do I think she's going to get it? Not a chance in HE double hockey sticks, but it's cool that she believes so. So basically, bringing it on back, Grayscale has stated that they're telling the US SEC to allow all Bitcoin ETF applications through at the exact same time because it's just kind of better. When I say cringe, it's because it's like desperation in a sort of way. We have all understood that we cannot tell Gary Gensler what to do because you can't usually tell monsters how to act. But then to think that you can tell them not only to list one ETF, but all of them at the exact same time in the name of fairness. I don't know if Grayscale also has one that they're trying to push through as well, but I can only assume that they actively do. The legal counsel made the call through a comment letter submitted on Thursday. This comes at a time when the company is locked in a lawsuit against the regulator over the rejection of its spot Bitcoin ETF application. To be fair, I'd also be a little sour. I'm annoyed, and I have not listed a Bitcoin ETF. It's literally impossible for me to do. But I'm annoyed with the fact that there isn't one, as are the other bigger players. So I can imagine you have something that is literally a Bitcoin ETF in everything but the letters, and you can't get those 3 letters written on a piece of paper. You'd be pretty gosh darn angry. Grayscale has argued that the SEC should give the regulatory blessing to all spot Bitcoin ETF applications at the same time if it approves any. Sorry for laughing. They said the SEC's actions related to Bitcoin ETFs should be done in a fair and orderly manner, Grayscale's chief legal officer, Craig Salm, said in a statement. As a disclosure-based regulator, the SEC should not pick winners and losers unless you have BlackRock, which owns the world. This is why, like, you don't understand. Like, I'm expecting a neutron star to collapse the same exact hour if we hear that BlackRock is not approved. You can't own everything and then not, like, you don't file one of these as a company unless you have an idea that you're going to get approved. Listen, how many of you don't, I was going to say raise of hand, raise your eyebrows or something. If you understand that Grayscale didn't try to file BlackRock, I keep getting it wrong because black and gray. BlackRock did not file this because they thought they were going to lose. I'm certain somebody in BlackRock was like, you know, we're going to get this right. Let's just file for it. Anyway, the SEC is currently examining applications for spot ETFs from prominent fund managers BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, Valkyrie, WisdomTree, and Van Eck. I think 3 other companies have put forth. So these are the ones that are actively on their tables now. They say that they're examining them, but there have been others behind them. I think it was the CBOE who also just tried to launch one as well. The regulator has basically struck down all applications for more than a decade over concerns of potential fraud and manipulation, but that's also a lie because we know nothing. Anyway, the point is, what I was going to say is that we know who's manipulating the market. It's the person who says no to the ETF. So yeah, this was incredibly popular news, as you might have imagined. I personally do not think this is going to do anything to the SEC. This is the same exact energy as Coinbase being like, we're going to leave. Cool, leave. The moment, like, if Grayscale said that they were going to leave and, you know, they would go somewhere else, go to Canada. You could have a Bitcoin ETF in probably hours. Go to Australia. Go to Singapore. Go to Japan. You can have it anywhere else. There are multiple in Europe. And you can't tell the SEC to give everyone a fair shot because they haven't and they're not going to. So what makes you think that the person who they rejected twice, you think you can just tell them that they can, like, what? Anyway, here's the actual thing right here. It's far too long. Here's the actual proposal from the people from Grayscale. This is 6 pages long. It will, of course, be in the description below, as always. That is, if you care to read through all of this. I'm not gonna myself because I assume it's just a lot of like, you should do this because we need this right now. You know, the world keeps turning. Things keep continuing on. I just assume that other markets are going to thrive during the next bull run because, you know, they have rules and regulations and they know about taxation and usage and where they can send their cryptocurrencies, and their SECs are giving them information. That's the Grayscale has demanded, I'll use that word, that the US SEC give the green light to every single Bitcoin. Please. They didn't even do it to one. Well, give the green light to every single Bitcoin ETF at one time. Woo! Someone's a dreamer. They dream a lot in their sleep. All right. Let's move on. Also this news article was not written by someone who has English as a first language, so bear with me. In Kyrgyzstan, the country, a crypto mining farm will be built for $20 million, and it apparently has been approved by their president, Sadir Japarov. As per the report, the hydroelectric power plant under the government of Kazakhstan will be built. Once again, you know, bear in mind, I read through this and this person, English is like their second or third language. Back in 2010, the Kambar Ata 2 was launched that lost 6.8 billion kilowatt hours of energy in Kyrgyzstan. The state of emergency energy sector will be activated on the 1st of August. What? As per the president's announcement on Monday. However, it ends on the 31st of December, 2026. Okay. The representatives in Kyrgyzstan's government look forward to bringing an opportunity to enhance local revenue with the help of cryptocurrencies. In March 2022, lawmakers had a chance to operate cryptocurrency as a legal industry since it grows faster than anything. That doesn't make any. I can't read this anymore. It's lightly hurting my head. What I'm getting from the news story is that apparently, one, it looks like the president of Kyrgyzstan has authorized the building of a cryptocurrency mining farm for the cost of $20 million. Got it. This is not the first country that has done this. When I say that, we continue to get listen, I understand that Kyrgyzstan is not the top of the top when we talk about crypto activity around the world. However, we keep hearing multiple times that there are multiple countries and multiple governments who are actively building cryptocurrency mining farms. And I don't know what more people need to not even just being bullish on the space, just to understand the significance of this. You don't build a crypto mining farm because you're I feel like spending 20 million? I mean, let's just throw our money into this. There's a reasoning behind it. There are so many other industries that could use that $20 million, but they're using it to mine crypto. It's usually Bitcoin and Ethereum that end up being mined. I would say probably not Ethereum because it's proof of stake, Bitcoin. So we continuously are in this loop of, at the moment, the cryptocurrency market is not pumping. It is trending sideways, as it always does before Bitcoin's halving. And we keep hearing that governments and countries are actively mining, buying, using, regulating cryptocurrencies. Their top banks are also I moved my thumbs and I don't know why, are actively allowing their largest banks, remember the third largest bank in France, can now buy, hold, and sell crypto. We get news like that, and it does almost nothing, to no one. No one even pays attention. No one cares to do anything. But it's over a dozen countries now over the years, and I don't mean just the BRICS ones. It's actual countries who have actual economies, who are trying to and are actively mining cryptocurrencies. So I know that this should be more exciting to people, but alas, any news that we get like this never gets people going, because I specifically think that people need Bitcoin and Ethereum to be so out of reach price-wise. Then at that point then they actually pay attention, but until then, no one's paying attention. So that's apparently, if I understood this English correctly, the president of Kyrgyzstan has approved a crypto mining farm worth $20 million. Usually they cost around $2 to $5 million. So this is a larger one to mine crypto within the country. No one's paying attention. Okay, cool. I know that 4 of you are. I'm sorry. I know 4 people are paying attention. I got it. I'm sorry. But everyone else, That's the Kyrgyzstan news. And yeah. Let's move on. Also in news, the British Museum, well known for their vast assortment of global artwork that they stole from a number of countries, has joined forces with the Sandbox, a reputable player in the crypto and metaverse scene. Yeah, if you haven't been here the last 2 years, we had a really weird trend, which I guess is picking back up now. For some reason, all these major companies and fashion houses began to side with and partner with the Sandbox. And they chose the Sandbox over Decentraland for reasons unknown. I think Decentraland came out first. They were our 2 largest metaverses within the cryptocurrency space. It was Sandbox and Decentraland. And then we had Ape Land, Land of Apes. Launch as well. It's not called Land of Apes. Launch as well. But of course, cryptocurrency trading volumes are down. So blah, 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 blah. But yeah, we continue to get partnerships with the Sandbox. This is not the first museum to do this, as weird as that might sound. There was another, I think it was the Pompidou in Paris. They also announced last year, maybe even 2021, that they were also buying NFTs. This is why I told you all before, for those of you who missed it, I buy an egregious amount of NFTs, especially licensed ones, because I do believe that digital assets are here to stay. And the moment I heard that a number of museums were buying NFTs and getting into the metaverse, it just kind of, really clicked for me. This announcement marks a new journey for the British Museum, marking its transition into digital experiences and evolution increasingly being adopted by traditional culture institutions. The British Museum, founded in 1753, has pledged to become a museum of the world for the world. I have a lot to say. As the world becomes more digital, this mission becomes even more critical. By exploring digital platforms, the museum strives to apply this long-standing principle to modern technology-focused circumstances. Who's writing these articles? It's never proper English. I'm always so confused. Here's a tweet for it right here from the Sandbox. It says, "Immerse yourself in a world of art, history, and culture at the British Museum as digital collectibles and metaverse experiences inside the Sandbox in collaboration with La Collection of." Something called, okay. The partnership with the Sandbox, facilitated by the museum's licensing partner, there we go, La Collection, aims to produce digital collectibles modeled after the museum's diverse and significant collection. Okay, so backing it up. I want to know if the things modeled after the stuff inside the museum, probably not. I was going to say, I wonder if you had like not a part of the item. You know how like there were some other NFT projects that launched like months ago, I don't know, whatever, who were basically giving people like the right to the artwork as well. So I was like, if you have a digital counterpart of probably not. I assume the museum is just, anyway. The assortment of collections would span a vast array of human history, art, and culture, offering a new medium for audiences to engage with the museum's holdings. I assume these will do well. Just an assumption. If this is an actual, like, it's clear that it's a partnership. Yes, I got that. But it's more of I don't know what art they have. I haven't been to the British Museum in at least like 10 years. But I assume if it's like major pieces, in an addition of like 300, people are probably going to end up buying these. I can definitely see that being a thing, but cool. So the news basically being the Sandbox continue. I wonder what the conversations are behind the scenes. I can't be the only one. What kind of connections do you have to partner with the British Museum and make them agree to make NFTs that would be on your metaverse? You see what I mean? Like, how does that happen? Who emails who? Is it like a hey, you guys, I see you got a lot of artifacts from other countries. You want to digitize them? You guys want to make a deal? You want to go into our Sandbox Metaverse? I'm going to stop talking. That's the British Museum has partnered up with Sandbox News. As always, we will continue to hear about this because that's how crypto news is, and we will hear about when the actual collection has dropped because it'll be like the most popular news story of the day probably, especially if any of those things start rising rapidly in value. Yeah, I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.